Very exciting. Thank you, Ray, so much for coming. And I'd now like to call on, where are you, Kathleen? Oh, there you are, Kathleen Code. She is the Vice and Acting Chair of the Ecoforestry Institute and is going to talk to us about whatever she desires.
Well, so far for me, the scarier thing than public speaking is finding parking in downtown Victoria. So I've managed that, so we'll see how far I get on this one. So as Anne said, I'm Kathy Code. I'm the Vice Chair of Ecoforestry Institute Society. My job has been in terms of communications, marketing. I'm also an economic development policy analyst. Recently retired from government, and my penance has been that there is no such thing as retirement, it's all just transition, so I've been busier than ever. But a great portion of that then has been my work with Wildwood. I'm very proud to have been part of the team that has worked over the past 3 years to acquire Wildwood and ensure that Wildwood remains in the public domain. It's owned, the Ecoforestry Institute Society is the trustee of Wildwood and stewards it under the trust purposes, and it can never ever again be sold to a private individual. It will remain in the public domains, and we hold it on behalf of the province of BC and the citizens of BC. So I'm here to tell you about the next chapter of Wildwood and the Ecoforestry Institute. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge that we're on the land, on the Lekwungen land, so the Songhees and the Esquimalt First Nations. And also I want to acknowledge Anne for her work with the Sustainable Forestry Trust, and Ray for your work as well as one of the co-founders of the Ecoforestry Institute. And which I got to cite your work actually during for my thesis. Then I did my thesis on sustainable community forestry, and for which I got to interview Merv Wilkinson too. So I was really privileged to have that honor. The EIS governance model. On December 23rd, we became the trustee of Wildwood. We hold Wildwood in trust, as I said. And how we did this, then we've established a cutting-edge protection package for Wildwood. It's protected not only by a land trust deed. This is a trust deed that goes on the mortgage that precedes any financial obligations, which means that if EIS goes under, the financial obligations, it means that it can never be sold to another private individual. Anybody who takes it on, it has to be a nonprofit, like-minded charitable society. Our trust purposes also are included in the covenant that is held, as well as in our ecoforestry management plan. And of course, a lot of this is embedded too in Merv Wilkinson's legacy. We follow very much in his footsteps, and we're very honored to have that legacy that we will continue to hold on to. This morning, actually, we had a cleansing ceremony at Wildwood, held through that was led by Billy Seymour and his daughter Dion of the Shumanis First Nation, along with John Marston. And so when we were planting trees in the northeast, west, and south corners of the property, it was an opportunity then to provide us a fresh start and to honor the spirit of the wood, and very much Merv Wilkinson's legacy. And his second wife, Grace Richard, was there at the ceremony this morning as well. So it was a very powerful moment for us. So actually there's two parts to EIS then, which is what somebody was talking about, how we talk about ecoforestry then in the long term. And that's one of the mandates that we've taken on, is to promote and provide guidance for the development of public and private demonstration forests, and also to develop in cooperation with others criteria for ecologically responsible forest uses and standards for certifying these practices. and for creating a community of practitioners, products, artifacts. So in addition to Wildwood is one component of what we will hold, but what we're also trying to do is develop this whole community then of ecoforestry, which will include hopefully a green belt in the Yellow Point area that will be able to connect various corridors throughout the community for the purpose of ensuring those sustainable forests for generations to come. And the second part is the stewardship of Wildwood. So although it's been what might have been a very quiet winter for us since we acquired the property in December, we've been working furiously behind the scenes then to develop the financial scenarios, the number crunching, the priorities, the things that we need to do then to take on Wildwood and make sure not only do we conduct it according to the ecoforestry paradigm, but conduct it within our financial means too. And to take on Wildwood, we had to also take on enormous debt. So we want to make sure that we have the means to pay that, but also working within that ecological paradigm that we have. So a huge part of our mandate then is the educational and training programs that we're developing for all ages and interests, including forest ecology, ethnoecology, everything that will be of interest then to people in terms of forest-related topics. The second key thing is the retention of an intact working ecoforest, while increasing our knowledge of how we can use and benefit from that forest without actually damaging the ecosystem. We'll be developing timber harvests that use the precautionary rule, cautious rate of cut to achieve ecological integrity. And again, you had spoken of the value-added worth then of the resulting lumber, and that's something that we'll be taking into account very carefully with each and every tree that we cut. And partnerships with First Nations, community groups, and conservation agencies throughout the area and growing as we proceed. So it's a very exciting time for us. So the first priority, education. We're already getting calls from schools who are interested in having their kindergartners and grade 1 classes come to visit Wildwood, and I think that's a really, really valuable place to start, is that we have an opportunity then to teach the young people. So school tours, workshops, any sort of avenue that we can encourage people to come and visit the land and take part in it, whether it's a matter of just being in the forest and feeling the forest, or actually learning about plant identification or mushrooms. So we have a great deal of work before us then in terms of acquiring these instructors. Then the Timber Framers Guild is very excited about the work that we're doing, and they've come on full force, not only to help us renovate, do some of the renovation work at Wildwood, but helping us with workshops so that people will be invited onto the land to actually learn about timber framing. The timber harvest then will take place in the fall of 2017, and we'll also be able to offer some workshop opportunities with that. And a new infrastructure will include a new mill shed and a lumber storage area to be ready for the fall harvest. And we're renovating the old cabin. We're now calling it, in honor of Merv, the Wilkinson Heritage Homestead. We've taken it right back to the logs, and so we're doing a full renovation on it to provide a venue then for educational programs and special events, and also as accommodation for eco-tourists from all over the world. Merv had always welcomed people, professionals, foresters, people who would make it to his doorstep to talk about ecoforestry, and will be wanting to do the same. And yes, that's Jane Goodall there, standing in front of the cabin, and she's been a good friend to Wildwood over the years. She's visited many times. She knew Merv, and last year actually during our struggles, she was kind enough to provide us with a public letter of support for our EIS to acquire Wildwoods. So we were very honored by that. So what we can offer then is that we would like people to join our community then. If you have talents to share, if you have workshops that you would like to develop, if you want to come in and attend a workshop, we would encourage you to do that. We're going to have painting parties, construction parties, we need tour guides, volunteers of all sorts, or you can donate. There are various ways of donating, becoming an EIS member, donating on a monthly basis, donate to a project or to the Wildwood Legacy Fund. So there's a number of ways to take part. We really do want this to be a community asset and a place for people to gather from a variety of walks of life. And there's our pileated woodpecker, which was Merv's, one of Merv's favorite animals. And so that's why the pileated woodpecker is very much a part of the new Wildwood logo. And we also had a new EIS logo designed as well. So thanks to our graphic artist, Cheryl Bancroft. She's amazing. Any questions? Yes?
In donating, is it a charitable?
Yes, we are a charitable society, so yes, the tax receipt would be included, yes.
So the walk's still held?
Yes, the walks are held every third Sunday of the month, so you're most welcome to come and join the public walks. Yes, hello.
At some point you mentioned Yellow Point. I think that is being up the highway. Well, did I mishear?
Wildwood is in Cedar, so it's not far from Yellow Point. Yeah, so it's sort of not far from Ladysmith, actually. So it's a 77-acre forest. It's half the size it used to be. We're hoping that we can acquire some of it back again. We're working on that prospect. It's a very small demonstration ecoforest, but it's the only one of its kind on the west coast of North America. So it really is very rare. We do have a number of old growth trees. It has been sustainably cut through a selective logging process. Merv did a cut every 5 years, and that served as part of his income. We've done a recent reassessment of the forest, so we have a full inventory now of all of the trees, the species, the diversity, all of the plant life. So we've really taken a very cautious approach then to determining the next cut. So I know that it was one of the criticisms that people had levied at us, that we hadn't done a cut for a long time, so that we were just going to have it as a park, and that's certainly not true. The object of this is to show that there is a sustainable ecoforestry model that can accommodate economic development as well. Yes?
Do you feel like you have the ear of any influential policymakers? Could this be changing paradigms for the larger?
Well, I think that's certainly the long-term goal. I don't know that we have the ear of anybody specifically right now. We've been so immersed in the past 3 years just to acquire the property that, we're just kind of taking it one step at a time. So we're just sort of gearing up operationally now. So, but eventually that would be the hope. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for listening.